People think Paul converted to Christianity, but the Bible tells a different story. In the book of Acts, Paul stands on trial and says, "I worship the God of our ancestors. I believe everything written in the law and the prophets." That doesn't sound like someone who left Judaism behind to start something new. But is that really what happened? What if I told you that the Bible says nothing of the sort? What if Paul never converted at all? In fact, what if the idea of a conversion says more about our misunderstanding of history than about what Paul actually believed? Paul is on trial. The religious leaders want him silenced. And here's what he says: "I admit that I worship the God of our ancestors as a follower of the way, which they call a sect. I believe everything that is in accordance with the law and that is written in the prophets." He says, "I believe," present tense. And get this, he even says, "I am a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee." Not was, I am. Paul didn't reject his heritage. He didn't switch religions. He found the Jewish Messiah. It says Paul converted, that he stopped being Jewish and became a Christian, that he walked away from the faith of his fathers. He worships the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He stands on the Torah. Paul says something even bolder. I am a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee, not was, not used to be. Why does this matter? Because identity matters. Because too many people today think that following Jesus means leaving behind who you are. That's not the story of Paul. He didn't reject his Jewish identity. He didn't renounce his upbringing. He didn't cast aside the commandments or the covenant. He found their fulfillment in the Jewish Messiah. Let's pause for a moment. Think of how many people today believe the opposite. They've been taught that Jesus came to abolish the law, that Paul created Christianity, that Judaism and faith in Jesus are two opposing systems. But what if that's not true? What if Paul didn't start a new religion? What if he remained entirely within the Jewish world and simply declared that the long-awaited promise had come? And in Philippians 3, Paul lists his heritage: circumcised on the 8th day, of the people of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew of Hebrews, in regard to the law, a Pharisee. Why would he say this long after his Damascus Road encounter if his identity no longer mattered? Because it did matter. It mattered to his mission, and it should matter to us. Here's the truth: Paul didn't convert. He was called. He didn't abandon Judaism. He embraced the hope of Israel. He didn't reject the Torah. He recognized its fulfillment in the Messiah. Yes, his encounter with Yeshua changed everything, but it didn't erase who he was. It revealed who he was always meant to be. Just like Moses at the burning bush, just like Isaiah in the temple, just like Samuel hearing the voice of God, Paul didn't find a new religion. He encountered the living God. So why does this matter today? Because we're still dealing with the same lies. Lies that say, if you believe in Yeshua, you can't be Jewish anymore. Lies that say the New Testament cancels the Old. Lies that pit Paul against Moses, Jesus against Israel, grace against truth. But Paul himself shatters those lies. He says, I am a Jew, I am a Pharisee, I believe the Torah, I preach the Messiah. All of it together. Not either or, but both and. That's the unfiltered truth. Paul didn't create a new religion. He testified to the promise. He didn't betray his people. He grieved for them. He didn't walk away. He walked deeper in. And now it's our turn to return to the roots, to see the scriptures as one story, to see Yeshua not as a break, but as the bridge.